Welcome to Biztech's Community Conversation Show. This show is part of our partnership with the Merdeka Award 2022, Anugerah Harapan Merdeka. The Merdeka Award Trust was established by Petronas and Shell on the 27th of August 2007 to recognize and reward excellent individuals and organizations whose works and achievements have not only contributed to the nation's growth, but have also inspired greatness in the people of Malaysia. Now, the award recognizes excellence in the following categories, namely education and community, environment, health, science and technology, outstanding scholastic achievement, and outstanding contribution to the people of Malaysia. Now, in conjunction with the 15th anniversary of the Merdeka Award Trust, 6 recipients have been conferred the prestigious 2022 Merdeka Award for fostering a culture of excellence and also for their remarkable contribution to Malaysia and its people. Now, our guest for today is Samuel Isaiah. He's the Program Director of Pemimpin GSL and is an Anugerah Harapan Merdeka recipient. Now, with all of that, welcome to the show, Samuel.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Brian.
Now, Samuel, before we begin, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and the work that you've done?
Well, I come from very humble beginnings. My father was a postman. We grew up in the east coast of Malaysia, from a small town called Kuantan. Both my parents, they are Kelantanese, so they made the move, I think, to Kuantan in '85. So I was born and raised in Kuantan, Pahang. And I think like many minority Indians in Malaysia, the measure of success was either to be a medical doctor or an engineer, Brian. So I think you could probably relate to this as well. I did quite okay in school, Brian. I went to good schools and all that, but I think when I was 16, I had a strong interest in languages, in art and literature. So that wasn't really well accepted by my parents at that point. And then that eventually led me into teacher training. It wasn't my first choice. I kind of like took it as it came, because when I was applying for it, I did not get any other scholarship. So my journey into becoming an educator was perhaps unintended, if one might say. So it was unintended in the beginning. So I went to this teachers college in Penang Island in 2005 and University Utara, Malaysia. So I did my teacher training there. But even as I was there, I did not find my passion for teaching and learning. I thought that there was a huge gap between theory and practice. I think there was a lot of implications, a lot of focus on the theoretical parts of education, but not what happens in real life. And when I was sent to this Orang Asli school, it's called Sekolah Kebangsaan Bincang in the state of Pahang. That is where my whole perspective of what becoming a teacher changed, what education meant to me and the children and the community that I was teaching. It was a school for Orang Asli, for an Orang Asli community. They are from the Jakun tribe. And throughout my 8 years of my career I carried out various activities and interventions. It started off with doing small things within the classroom with my students, which quickly scaled through community projects that I did together with the community. My focus at that point was to do this, Brian, was to improve their academic performance, is to build their skills and character, and also to improve school attendance. So these are common issues that are faced by a lot of indigenous communities in Malaysia. But then I saw that there was a need to scale the things that I was doing. I realized that whatever that I did must not start with me and end with me. If not, it's not going to be sustainable. And then I ventured out to research. I ventured out into teacher training, trying to inspire and train and empower more teachers within the district that I was teaching in, within the state, and eventually throughout the state of Malaysia. So my progress from that point onwards also relates to what more can I do for education in Malaysia. And it came to a point where I hit a wall in a lot of things that I was doing. And in 2019, Brian, I left for the United States to pursue my studies in educational policy and leadership under Fulbright scholarship. So I went there to see what more I can contribute, what more can I do for Malaysian education and teachers in Malaysia. And then as I came back, I saw that the best opportunity came through Pemimpin GSL. What we do right now is we train and empower teachers nationwide, and we empower them with leadership skills to come up with contextualized solutions for their communities and for their schools. So that is generally my career so far.
Okay, I'm going to come back to Pemimpin
Sure.
GSL shortly, but could you tell us when the turning point was when you really found your purpose? And you mentioned that teaching was not your original first choice,
Person.
and you went into this Orang Asli community. And this is a key thing among teachers, right? Nobody wants to be sent to these rural communities. Everyone wants an urban job. So share with us a little bit about how you made that transition from just it being a job to embracing this Orang Asli community of kids and then embracing the whole community as a whole.
Well, the first 3 months that I was sent to the school, I thought of quitting right away, Brian. I mean, the challenges were so immense. There were a few challenges that I faced specifically. I think the first challenge was there is this stigma towards the Orang Asli community and the students in Orang Asli communities. The stigma is that no matter what you do, they are not going to keep anything. So it was a very lackadaisical, very negative mindset within the school itself, within the community itself, and there was basically no expectation. And for me, that was a big challenge because I come from an environment that is of high expectation. In a lot of things that I was going to do, I'm going to do my best. I'm going to try, and fulfill my truest potential. And in that environment, I saw that that was something that I couldn't do. And in some ways, the teacher training that I had did not prepare me for this. So in that first 3 months, as I was questioning my call, and looking at the challenge that I was facing, I think what inspired that change was the students themselves. I think as soon as when I was during my teacher training, I was teaching in an urban school in Penang Island. Everything was perfect. You've got productive teachers, you've got good infrastructure, you have great facilities, you have teachers who want professional development and want to do their best for their students in the school. So coming from that environment itself, I expected the same. But as I dived into the livelihood of my students, as I understood what education meant to them and what we are doing in school does not relate to their livelihood altogether, I saw that it was not just a job, it was a purpose. There was a reason that I was there. And I think the heroes of my story as a teacher predominantly would be the students and the community. They inspired me, they taught me, they basically reset everything I knew about education and how I was going to deliver it to them and with them.
I want to then zoom in on you post Fulbright scholarship and your journey into Pemimpin GSL. Tell us about that organization, who it's funded by, and what your purpose is.
Well, Brian, like I said earlier on, when I left the school, it was because I wanted to create more sustainable changes. I realized that a lot of things that I was doing started with me and ended with me, and that's not sustainable at all. How do I inspire sustainable changes for not just my kids, but other underprivileged kids and other Orang Asli kids in Malaysia in general? So as I went to the States, I envisioned myself studying how I can contribute to systemic changes. And I did that exactly. I met with the best researchers in the United States. I worked on different research programs. I wrote a few things as well with them, worked on, learned from various individuals from around the globe. And as I came back, I saw that in order for me to have that autonomy and in order for me to, impact education more effectively, I had to leave the Ministry of Education at that point. It's something that I really aspired to do. And when the opportunity through Pemimpin GSL came, I just took it wholeheartedly because it's something that is related to my expertise and my experience with my 10 years of teaching in school and my master's in educational policy and leadership. So the idea of contributing to bigger systemic impact for Orang Asli schools was one of the main things that I desired. So previously, Pemimpin GSL, what we do, we usually train teachers within the Klang Valley region, Selangor, Kuala Lumpur, and all that. And as we aspire to scale, as we aspire to look at different schools and different communities and collaborate with government entities in Malaysia, we saw that going through and impacting an Orang Asli school was one of the next best thing to do. And as we approached this idea, we proposed this idea, our funders were really excited about it, and we went to that. So our funders include different foundations in Malaysia. We have ETM Libra Foundation, we have YTL Foundation, we have Yayasan Tandabi, and also we are sponsored by Yayasan Hasana for our Orang Asli program as well. So that gives us the autonomy to actually train more teachers in Malaysia.
Now, Samuel, help us understand. So you've been in the trenches, so to speak. The Malaysian education system as a whole has despite a tremendous amount of investment, being seen as lagging behind. Is going to rural schools and rural communities a way to then achieve quick wins for companies and foundations who want to make an impact?
I think if you're looking at the indigenous community, there's been a lot of policy that's been designed for them, educational policies and other different types of policies, but there's no sustainable impact, especially in education. We in Pemimpin, how we view the impact that we do is to encourage school leaders and train them with the right skills to come up with the right contextualized solutions for their school. We're not coming in with the product, we're not coming in with an idea, we're just providing them with the right skills, with the right mindset, and with the right tools for them to implement what happens in their school. And in indigenous schools, I think initially, Brian, when we wanted to go into Orang Asli schools, we realized that the challenge is huge because a lot of organizations, a lot of policies, education policies that have been made for Orang Asli communities don't achieve very good results at the end of the day. And we realized that one of the key areas that was missing is celebrating the identity of Orang Asli communities, including indigenous pedagogy within the teaching and learning itself, and at the same time providing school leaders with the autonomy to decide what's best for their students and for their community. So going in from that angle, of course, we realized that the impact will not be as significant as other programs altogether. But I think in social sciences, in the programs that we do, the impact is something that's long-lasting that we're looking at, probably in a year, in 2 years. How do these skills that we are actually providing school leaders with, how do they actually create sustainable impact within their community, something that we're looking at. With regard to quick wins, it is tough, especially in the trainings that we do. Yeah.
Now, Samuel, you are so passionate about this topic, obviously. It just comes out from you. But what's kept your passion in this field and that hunger burning in you? And did you have any role models that you actually looked up to?
Well, I think first of all, it has to be my students, the community. I think they are my heroes in my story. They inspired me to do what I do, and inspired me to, even challenge my own boundaries of what I thought I was capable of doing. And at the same time, I think in life, we have different role models. Initially, when I was in teachers college, I had this mentor. Her name is Dr. Maria. She inspired me to do lots of things, to be very critical in what I was doing, to be very reflective in everything that I was doing. So that's very important. Currently, in my role at Pemimpin GSL, I've got to give credit to my top partner and colleague, Cheryl Fernando, who's the CEO of Pemimpin GSL. And she's the one who hired me to join Pemimpin GSL with her. And together, what we are doing to impact different schools nationwide, I think that partnership that we have is not just inspiring for me, but it motivates me to continually challenge myself to give my best. And of course, family and friends as well. I think that's very important, to have that individuals to go back to where I can just share whatever I want with them. So yeah.
Now, how do you feel about winning the Anugerah Harapan Merdeka Award in this category?
Brian, I think I'm humbled, I'm honored to be actually in the category of 6 individuals. I wasn't expecting this, but it's truly an honor. But I think this also represents the great work that a lot of teachers are doing as well. And to be able to represent teachers of Malaysia as a recipient of this award, I think that's a huge honor on its own. I also see that Anugerah Harapan Merdeka, honoring young individuals like myself, also signifies that we want to put our trust in more young leaders in Malaysia to drive systemic changes. And I think that responsibility, though huge, I look forward to it. I look forward with the responsibility that comes with the award and with the recognition to give back as much as I can to the community, to educators in Malaysia, and impact systemic changes.
Samuel, what are you working on now? And what are you aspiring to do in the next couple of years? You've obviously made impact already, but I think it's a journey. You probably reset goals and new targets. What do you want to do?
Together with Pemimpin, we have recently launched a program in the state of Perak, where we work with 30 Orang Asli schools. So that is a massive program, Brian, 30 Orang Asli schools. It's basically all the Orang Asli schools in the state of Perak. We are using this first year and a half to actually make sure we collect as much data as possible to see how we can scale this program to other states in Malaysia. So we're looking at in the next 3 to 5 years to be able to train every school leader in Malaysia to come up with contextualized, impactful solutions for the Orang Asli community. We are also working with different aspects of leadership within schools. So we have different types of programs for different types of leaders in schools as well. And recently we just launched something called the Malaysia Teacher Prize. So this is the Malaysian version of the Global Teacher Prize. And the idea is to elevate the teaching profession in Malaysia, to give prominence to the role of different teachers in Malaysia as well, and also to make the teaching profession sexy again, or to make the teaching profession a profession of choice. And with that comes the Malaysia Teacher Prize. It also comes with a 50,000 ringgit winning cash prize that goes directly to the teacher for them to conduct whatever they want. So what we are focused on is professional development for teachers, and specifically for Orang Asli schools, for other schools, I think different types of school leadership programs, and also through the Malaysia Teacher Prize. So these are the 3 main areas that they are working on.
Okay, Samuel, then, how does corporate Malaysia get involved in these programs?
Right, we look forward to partnering with different types of corporate bodies as funders as well. And a lot of the programs that we are doing is basically a long-term program, which is usually a year or 2 years as well. We are also looking at the possibility of coming up with some edtech solution for also schools so that teachers can use it for teacher professional development. So these are the areas that we are experimenting in and trying to see how it fits within the education ecosystem in Malaysia. So we welcome different types of support from the corporate world, including funds, including expertise as well. I think as a non-profit, sometimes we need mentors as well to see how we can build this together. Because I think the journey of impacting education in Malaysia is not a work where you can do it in a silo, but it involves collaboration with different types of organizations, bringing different expertise together. So we look forward to, connecting with different types of corporate bodies in Malaysia.
Samuel, it's been a fascinating a conversation. I'm inspired by you. But before we leave, any final thoughts you'd like to leave the audience with?
Well, I would really like to say thank you again to Biztechasia for actually inviting me to this session today. I think it's providing me with a platform to share my heart's desire of what I want to bring and what I want to do for education in Malaysia, and also to represent different voices of teachers in Malaysia. I think when it comes to education in Malaysia, it's not the work of one individual, but we all have a role to play to actually make sure that every child in Malaysia receives quality education. No matter where they come from, every child in Malaysia deserves the equal chance to actually fulfill their potential. So I hope that we can all come together and work together for this, and that's probably my final word.
Now, Samuel, thank you very much for taking your time to be on the show. Now, I'm Brian Fernandez, and we've been speaking to Samuel Isaiah, the Program Director of Pemimpin GSL, on Biztech's Community Conversation Show. This show is part of our partnership with the Merdeka Award 2022, Anugerah Harapan Merdeka. Now, this video and podcast will be on our various platforms, as well as our website, www.biztech.asia. Please like and subscribe to our various platforms. Thanks again for tuning in.